Once upon a time, there was a woman who had 3 daughters. The oldest was rude and wicked. The middle one was somewhat better, but still had many faults, and the youngest was a kind and pious girl. Oddly enough, their mother loved the eldest the most, and she despised the youngest with all her heart. So much did she dislike the youngest that she often sent her deep into the forest alone, hoping she'd lose her way and never return. But the little girl was so good that she had a guardian angel watching over her at all times. He guided her safely back home again and again. One day, however, the angel stayed hidden. The girl wandered the woods but could not find her way out. As evening came and the shadows grew long, she saw a faint light in the distance. She followed it and found a small, humble cottage. She knocked on the door. No one answered. She knocked again. Finally, an old man with snow-white hair and beard opened the door. He looked noble and kind. It was Saint Joseph. "Come in, dear child," he said warmly. "Sit by the fire and warm yourself. I have only a little to offer, some water and a few roots from the forest. But you are welcome to what I have." The girl was grateful. She prepared the roots, then added the bit of pancake and bread her mother had given her, and cooked a thick soup. When it was ready, Saint Joseph said, "I am very hungry, dear child. May I have some of your food?" "Of course," the girl said kindly, and gave him more than she kept for herself. After dinner, Saint Joseph said, "Now it's time for bed. I have only one bed in the house. You sleep in it, I will sleep on the straw." "No," said the girl. "Please, you must take the bed. I will be fine on the straw." The next morning, when she awoke, Saint Joseph had vanished, but on the table lay a heavy sack of gold coins marked, "For the kind child who slept here." She took it and ran home. Her mother, seeing the gold, praised her for the first time in her life. The next day, the middle daughter decided she wanted to try her luck. Her mother gave her a bigger piece of pancake and more bread. Everything happened just as it had for her sister. When Saint Joseph asked for food, she gave him a small portion, and when it was time for bed, she said, "There's room enough for both of us in the bed." So they slept together, and the next morning she too found a sack of coins, though smaller than the first. She kept 2 coins for herself in secret and brought the rest home. Now the oldest daughter was curious and insisted that she should go too. Her mother gave her as much food as she could carry, pancakes, bread, and even cheese. She arrived at the cottage, made her soup, and when Saint Joseph asked for a little food, she snapped, "Wait until I'm done eating. If there's anything left, you can have it." She nearly finished the whole pot and left the old man with scraps. When it was time for bed, she took the only bed for herself without question and left Saint Joseph to sleep on the straw. In the morning, he was gone. Eagerly she looked for her sack of gold, but instead found something strange on the floor. She leaned down to examine it, and a second nose attached itself to her face. She shrieked and ran from the cottage, both terrified and furious. As she ran through the forest, she encountered Saint Joseph. She threw herself at his feet and begged, "Please take this awful nose off. I promise to be good." At last, Saint Joseph took pity on her, removed the second nose, and gave her only 2 small coins before sending her on her way. When she returned home, her mother asked eagerly, "What did you get?" The daughter lied and said, "A huge sack of gold, but I lost it in the forest." "You lost it?" cried the mother. "Then we must go find it." The two of them went into the forest, but as they searched, a thick fog descended. They became hopelessly lost and were never seen again.